Have you ever experienced medical gaslighting? When you go to a doctor and you know there's something wrong and you try to explain it and they just brush it off, or they tell you it's all in your head, or that you're just depressed, you need to go see a psychiatrist, I'll write you a referral. But you know that's not it. You've been sad, you've been depressed, you've had your moments of grief and frustration and anxiety. You know this is something physical. There is something definitely wrong, but no matter how many doctors you go to, they just keep brushing you off. It gets to the point where you give up and you don't even go to the doctor anymore because you know they're just not going to listen to you, or they're going to make fun of you or tell you you're crazy, or, make you think that you're a hypochondriac. And then finally, all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. You find yourself in the hospital. You're near death. And it's something that could have been easily prevented. That's what happened to me. I went through this for 40 years, telling doctors there's something wrong, I don't feel right, I have no energy, I have to take 2 naps a day. I used to have a lot more energy than this, there's something definitely wrong. They told me I was depressed. Then they told me I had dissociative identity disorder, all kinds of crazy psychiatric issues, schizophrenia, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of psychiatric drugs that didn't do anything positive. All they did was make me feel like a zombie. What little energy I had left, they took it away. Until finally, I ended up in the hospital with a heart attack. And it wasn't your typical heart attack. It wasn't because of clogged arteries or high cholesterol or high blood pressure. No, this was a heart attack caused by not having enough cortisol. The stress hormone. Most people are trying to lower their cortisol because they're so stressed. Well, it can happen. It's called adrenal insufficiency. There are many different ways to get there. I got there because I lost too much blood in a miscarriage. Many women lose a tremendous amount of blood when they have a miscarriage or they give birth. And usually it's not more than it's supposed to be, and you can recover just fine. The body's made to do that. But sometimes you lose more than you should. And when that happens, your pituitary gland dies, and you end up with adrenal insufficiency, hypothyroidism, low growth hormone, all your muscles start to atrophy. That's what happened to me. I got to the point where I couldn't walk anymore. You lose your anti-diuretic hormone. You're in the bathroom every 15 to 20 minutes, night and day. I kept telling them there was a problem. Finally, I got a hospitalist when I had my heart attack, a Dr. House, if you've ever watched that show. And he was able to finally diagnose me. You see, here's the problem. Doctors, when they go to medical school, are told, if you see hoof prints, think horses, not zebras. What's that mean? Let me explain. People with rare medical issues, like pituitary necrosis or adrenal insufficiency, are considered zebras because it's rare. It's not a common cold or a viral infection or a broken bone or something that everybody gets. So they're not used to seeing it. And most doctors kind of like it when something new and challenging crosses their door. This is something different, and they get excited about helping people like that. Well, the medical community wants to rein those people in, and they tell them, no, you're not seeing anything unusual. This is something very common. It's either the patient is lying, or they're exaggerating their symptoms, or they don't know what they're talking about, but it's obviously something very common. Think of the most common thing it could be, and that's usually what it is. So they brush you off because they've been taught to. Lovely. That's very helpful, isn't it? And that's why we get so many people complaining about medical gaslighting. So if your doctor is doing that to you, and you've had it, and you go from one doctor to another, to another, to another, to another, I know it's exhausting, believe me. Like I said, took over 40 years to get a proper diagnosis. You're going to have to keep going. I hate to be the one to bring it to you, but that's just what's going to happen. Because if you don't, you're going to end up like me in the hospital. And I was lucky that I survived, because many people don't.